favorite, one of my favorite stories. It's got such a rich, what we call it, a narrative structure. It's got a nice plot, and it kind of resolves at the very end, and then it sends us into the world. Is that right? So it's got a nice move within that. I love this because it's got some of those fine points in that text, but especially about the burning hearts. And so, before I preach this word to you, it's a familiar story, isn't it? Such a familiar story. So, what do we make of this story? Before we do that, I just want you to watch this like 1 minute video. Will you watch with me? And then we will.
This is an awareness test. How many?
Can you put some volume there?
It passes does the team in white make? No! The answer is 13.
Just hold on. He gives you the answer, isn't it? Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Did you watch the white team?
Yeah. Yes.
13 passes?
Yes.
Okay.
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
It's easy to miss what you're not looking for. Did you watch that?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
The second time when we watched it, right? Because I told you so. The video started off by saying, what he basically said, look how many passes the white team was doing. And so what happened in that whole thing was, all of us were looking at the white team. Yeah? How many of you really looked at the guy who came in and went out? Almost 100% of us didn't do it, isn't it? 100% of us missed that guy who came in and walked out. How could we have? Is that right? The reason why I put that one is, the disciples on the road to Emmaus, right? And while they were on that road to Emmaus, they were talking about what had happened. So that what had happened in their lives. This Jesus, who was so part of their lives, who we thought was the Messiah. And so we kind of got let down by this Messiah. And if you heard it very carefully, we had hoped for. We really thought we had hoped for that this was the Messiah. And so we kind of got caught up with that story. And so that's what the disciples did. They were so caught up in that story that they really missed it. And the second thing is, I told, when that video told you to just watch the white team. Right? If we had just told you to just watch the video, maybe some of you would have watched that bear walking in and walking out. But when that video told you to watch that white team, your concentration was so much on the white team. Is that right? This was the biggest letdown ever for the disciples. Sometimes we don't understand the concept of Messiah. We really don't, because we are so far removed. We live in the 21st century. We really don't understand Messiah. For somebody, if you go and listen to stories of people who are oppressed day in and day out, Really, if you go and listen to stories of people who get oppressed day in and day out, and if anybody who acts like a Messiah, they put their fullest hope in them. Am I making sense? Right? Think of a kid who gets bullied in the class. And if he sees a Messiah in that group, his hopes are heightened. For the people of Israel, who were constantly under the Roman rule, really under the Roman rule, they wake up to Rome, they sleep to Rome. They go out, they see Rome. And Rome not as in nice people. Rome as in oppressive people. Right? And so when the idea that when Jesus was doing certain things that heightened them. Because in the scripture they had read Isaiah very carefully. And in Isaiah basically said that this Messiah would open the eyes of the blind, right? Would set the prisoner free. Right? And if you have a sickness, this Messiah will heal you. And so when they heard that news and when they saw Jesus doing it, they immediately told themselves, guess what? This is the Messiah. And so their hopes got heightened every time. And they really thought that Jesus would finally do it. If you look at the story of Judas, Judas has, the way we look at Judas' life, Judas was the one who kind of gets appointed to betray Jesus, isn't it? And some of us see Judas is in this grand plan of God. That's okay. That's not a problem, you see. But Judas, there's another nice theory behind Judas was, Judas thought that if you push Jesus to the corner, Jesus will suddenly become the Messiah. Am I making sense? Look at sometimes you and I, when we get pushed to the corner, and when we don't have a place to wiggle out, we begin to do something, isn't it? So Judas thought to himself, if I push Jesus to one corner, and Jesus will suddenly show his side of the Messiah. And then he will let go. And then he will overthrow. So, literally, I am not joking. Even today, the Jewish people are so disappointed is because their hopes were heightened by Jesus. And Jesus was the biggest letdown in their lives. When they were going along, they were only talking about how Jesus had let down. How Jesus had disappointed them, isn't it? Think of greatest disappointments in your life and in my life. I think sometimes disappointments, what they do is, it clouds our understanding and we fail to see God in our midst. Yeah, it happens. Think about it. I have a friend who was jobless for the longest time. And finally the company had called him and he went for the interview and it was almost there. And he thought the job was his. And a week later the company calls him back and he says, I'm sorry, it won't work for you. It's like, in Tamil we say, is it right? It's almost you got it to your lip, you want to drink it and you lost it. Kai ketnadu vai kettala, is that right? That's what the disciples were feeling that day. They were feeling that, they came so close. Jesus came so close and got let down. So sometimes what happens is, in your disappointments, your disappointment and my disappointment, in the most hardest places of our disappointments, we fail to see Jesus. We really do. Because the things that are going on in our life clouds our life so much that we fail to see actually Jesus walking with us. And sometimes we think to ourselves, maybe only the disappointments Maybe we tell ourselves, maybe it's the disappointment that, in our disappointment that we fail to see Jesus. No. When things are going well in your life, maybe even now as you are sitting down here, there's a lot that is going on in your mind that you are actually missing worship. Maybe you're sitting down here and you're telling yourself, there is something in my job that needs my attention. My daughter, my son's admission is online. Things are going well in my life. So it's not only disappointments that cloud us. It's things that are going well in our life sometimes cloud us. And so what happens in all of those things, we kind of get our mind crowded by it and we lose Jesus in the midst of it. That's what happened to them. So the story is so much about Jesus walking with them, and yet they are failing to recognize. Am I making sense so far? It's so much Jesus walking with them, but yet they fail to see Jesus. The story is beautiful, isn't it? It's the plaque that you have in your house. You know, the old plaque that was there is Christ is the head of the house. Right? And it says in your plaque, where I used to have the old plaque. What does the second one say? The unseen
guest at every meeting.
It's the unseen guest, isn't it? According to this one, it's not the unseen guest. You know, Jesus is so unique in the way he does. He goes into somebody's house, and see the audacity that he has. He goes into somebody's house and he takes the bread and he breaks it. You are supposed to be a guest, Jesus. But Jesus reminds in that story, he's no more a guest. So, after reading this story, maybe that plaque should read, the unseen host at every meal. Is that right? So Jesus sits down there and he breaks the bread and their eyes are opened. And the next line that really catches my attention is that, their hearts get warmed. In your version probably it says, and their hearts burned. Is that right? If you had been with us throughout Lenten meditation, the first time when we met, we watched a video series, and then out of the video series came our discussion. And in the first video series, what the author was saying was, if you look at Mount Sinai, right, Mount Sinai, God is leading the people of Israel, and he comes to the place called Mount Sinai, and at this place he wants to show himself off to his people. And so he says to the people, he says, listen, get yourself ready for the next day I'm going to meet you. And so the people are all excited, they get ready. But then he also says, don't come near the mountain, because if you come near the mountain, my glory will be so much that you will get burnt. And so people are kind of scared and they tell Moses and Aaron, you go to the mountain and you listen to God and you come and tell us. It was the most glorious thing that ever happened. Right? It was the most amazing thing that happened. To see God come and dwell on a mountain. And so the author said, all of us have those Sinai moments in our lives. You have, I have. Tell me you don't. No, you do. You walk along through your life's journey and suddenly you see God meeting you. Plenty of times. Plenty of times God has met me in the most difficult of places. Not when things were right. In the most hardest of places I've met God. So God meets the people of, and so God says to you, God says, hey, how do you carry the Sinai experience when you leave this place? Is that right? So what God did was, after he had done that Sinai moment, he says to them, build a tabernacle. Right? Build a tabernacle which will look like the temple, and when you build that, I will come and dwell in it. So next time, I'm not only in Mount Sinai, I will come with you. Every time you go, I will walk with you. I will talk with you. I will go with you, he says. Because God's idea was that Sinai should be carried with us when we leave. Is that right? That's what God's desire for us here also. Sometimes you come inside this place of worship and maybe there is a worship song, maybe there is a hymn that we sing, or maybe there is a scripture that I read will warm your heart. And after that, if it just cools down, guess what? Everything is a waste. At least in God's idea, Sinai happens here, Emmaus happens here. But when Emmaus has to go out with you, otherwise there is just no reason for God to do something in our lives, isn't it? How do I carry Sinai? How do I carry Emmaus when we leave this place? That's what God's desire is. What God wants you to do is to carry what you experience here when you leave this place. I was so proud last week when I overheard a conversation downstairs in the fellowship hall, and somebody told, the pastor's message has always been this, and he was telling somebody else. And so the pastor's message has always been this. He said, what is important in worship is not what we do here, but what we do outside. And I said, amen. Isn't it? It's not what I do here. Because you're here only for an hour and a half, isn't it? You're here only on Sunday morning for an hour and a half. But how do I carry this experience? That's the key, folks. And I think that's what God desires. That's what God desires. That we will carry this Emmaus and the Sinai experience when we go from this place. So, after they have met Jesus, their hearts are burning. They want to carry this with them. In my life and in your life, we have also, when I came to know Jesus, when I met Jesus in a personal way, my heart was just burning with desire. I had come to know the Lord, and I was walking after I had committed my life to Jesus, and I was walking on the road and I could not feel my feet. I was on air. But after 2 days, it kind of died down. Your life and my life, it happens the same way. We kind of get God and then we leave God behind and we walk away. Is that right? So Emmaus needs to go with us when we leave this place. And so, when you start looking at the story, at the beginning of the story, the disciples were walking like this because their hearts were so burdened. But you know what it says? When they were walking, they were like sluggish this way. After they meet Jesus, you know what happens? They don't walk like this. They feverishly run back to Jerusalem. Am I making sense? I'm not making it up. I'm not making this story up, isn't it? So folks, this is the story about not only about you and about me. This is the story about the church. Is that right? Church, oftentimes there are so many things that are going on in our churches. Sometimes churches are closing down and churches are so disillusioned. What is the future of this church? In that disillusionment, we forget to encounter Jesus. So when we encounter Jesus, guess what? We cannot remain here. We've got to go back to Jerusalem. We've got to go back to those Jerusalems that God has for you. Are you with me? Carry Emmaus with you. So the story is about the church. It's about what you do here. You come here, you encounter Jesus, and then you go back to your Jerusalem. But sometimes, the story is a little bit more than that. The story has a very nice curve, as I told you, right? There is deep disappointment in the disciples' lives. They come meet Jesus, and their lives are turned, and they go back to the world. If you draw it like an arc, deep disappointments, they come down. They meet Jesus at this place, the aha moment, and they go back to Jerusalem. But sometimes those neat turns doesn't happen quickly. In this story, that disappointment turns when they see Jesus. But sometimes in your life and my life, that turn doesn't happen so quickly. There will be hurts and there will be disappointments. And I think the story is about how the church can walk with somebody who is disappointed in life. Sometimes it will take a little longer for that turn to happen. Is that right? This morning I was listening again to Lauren Daigle sing that song, I Will Trust in You. Even when you don't answer. Even when those waters don't get parted. Even when my prayers that I make every day does not get answered. Teach me to trust in you. I think that's part of the story. Jesus will walk alongside with you and with me. Not only in our moments of disappointment, in our every moment of our lives, Jesus will walk with us. That's Jesus' promise. And I think as a church, what we need to do is to be able to walk along with people who are going through disappointments in their lives. That you will be that encouraging piece for them. Will you bow with me in prayer? And will you tell God, God, I have missed seeing you. I have missed experiencing you. Because there's so much that's going on in my life. Yes, Lord. There is so much that's going on in my life. And I have missed you. And I have not recognized you. But the promise of Scripture is that you are with us. You are with us even now. In our moments of deep distress, disappointments. God, you have never left us and you will never leave us. Be encouraged. Pray that God will give you hope in the midst of your disappointments. That God will pour out God's Spirit in you. That God will do an amazing thing in your life. God has not left us. God will not leave us. And to that great God we come to you. And we ask God's blessing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I see the sun. and take me home. What joy shall fill my heart? Then I shall walk in humble adoration, and then proclaim, my God, how great thou art. Then sings